So we're here at this rose, which is an atom bomb rose, and it was planted as part of an artwork by Gabriella Hirst called How to Make a Bomb. So I'm David Bell, I'm the university's curator, and I'm with Ksenia. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ksenia Chmutina, I'm the director of the Institute of Advanced Studies.
So this rose is in the garden of the university's Institute of Advanced Studies, and it was planted as part of, as I said, as part of Gabriella's How to Make a Bomb project, which was really exploring the connection between the naming of plants and British nuclear colonialism. So the rose was named the atom bomb rose to celebrate Britain becoming a nuclear power and testing its nuclear weapons in the Pacific. And it's part of a broader series of works that Gabriella's done, I think, exploring the relationship between plants and gardening and violence and colonialism. So another work she's got, which is called Battlefield, which is an ongoing project where she plants gardens, most recently at a gallery in Osnabrück in Germany. And all the plants in the garden are named after military events or generals or battles, etc. But we're here today to prune the rose, so you have to prune a rose annually. Obviously it's been here a couple of years, it'll be 2 years in July, so it's growing slowly but steadily. And pruning will obviously help it grow. And the reason we're filming it is because that act of pruning, I think, brings to life some of the issues that the work is exploring. So between kind of care and violence and things that are ostensibly positive or good and give life, but also the necessity of thinking about violence in relation to those rather than as something separate. So obviously pruning is quite a violent physical act, but it enables the plant to grow. And you were saying, Ksenia, your relationship with gardening is not one of... It's not something you associate with care and kind of tenderness.
No, not at all. And it kind of made me think what it is we're doing here, because for me gardening is kind of almost like an enforced task, that something you have to do whether you want it or not. Because it's like if you do it seriously, you have to keep doing it, right? You can't give up on it. So yeah, I'm done with gardening. I've done my plots of gardening hours when I was a teenager. Except now, so hopefully it'll still be alive next year.
So this is very much not a guide to pruning a rose, so please don't take me as Monty Don's... I'm not going to be hosting gardeners all the time, but we need to cut back the dead wood essentially, which will enable the rose to put its energy into the living parts of the plant. So really it's just these two bits here.
Yeah, I think we managed to identify them.
So and you snip it back as close to the ground in a clean cut as possible. So that's off. That is budding there, so I'll just take it back to there. And we have to remove this because it can cause disease if you leave
Oh really?
Yeah,
okay,
so according to the guide I read.
According to Wikipedia.
Yeah. But I think this project reminded me of a talk I saw a long time ago when there was Jane Bennett's work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was when Jane Bennett's work was really in vogue, and she has this sort of very nicey approach to everything. So the more than human and developing these relationships with the more than human and becoming entangled and letting the more than human take us where it takes it, and this being a kind of reciprocal caring relationship with the world. And obviously there's lots of value in that. But this paper was by a geographer, I think, called Franklin Ginn, and he was talking about research he'd done with gardeners and about how they deal with slugs. And it was a deliberately kind of funny paper,
right? But
he was basically talking about how gardeners can't deal with slugs with care because they'll ruin the things they do care about. So they throw them over the fence or they kill them, and it was really in quite a humorous way, but it was undercutting that kind of the way that we think about gardening is just this very tender, caring thing, but it has to be underpinned by, you have to make decisions about what you get rid of. And so there's always this kind of...
Yeah, like violent kind of decision making, but also it kind of depends on the culture, right? And what matters in your garden would really dictate on kind of say the food that you eat, right? Or the slugs that you care for or not care. I'm just thinking about watercress and how my mom would get rid of it. Like it's the worst pest in the garden. And then when she saw it in the supermarket in the UK, she'd be like, "Oh my god, I could have been like a millionaire," right? Because we did in salad. And it's just strange how culturally that really matters, but then how it can also get imposed, right? When something becomes like a fad, particularly in food and cuisine.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
Japanese knotweed.
Right. Well, for example, right? Yeah.
So it's seen as this really invasive thing that you have to get rid of, but now it's being reclaimed as a foodstuff.
So that's it.
Yeah, and there's obviously a politics of migration in there as well. This whole language of invasive plants, and we must get rid of these. They're non-native, so we must get rid of them. And actually, sometimes they're that can exaggerate the dangers of them. So, yeah, I think again these are the issues that Gabriella's really trying to get at with the work about, or at least as I understand the work, about how we have to make these decisions, and there isn't this kind of nice autonomous realm of care that's free from ultimately what are political decisions.
Yeah, but also I think recently as well we've kind of been seeing how the word care has been really more and more co-opted, right?
Yeah.
It's become this kind of act of benevolence almost. And when you see the state saying that we care, you're just like, maybe we should rethink the concept in the way that we use it.
Yeah, and what's it underpinning? You know,
right.
What is care allowing the perpetuation of? So, you know, if you keep caring for things, what is reproduced and what violent structures continue because of the care you're doing?
And who can be cared for and what can be cared for?
Yeah. So hopefully we've cared adequately for the rose.
Back here next year.
Yeah. So the rose, really, the intention is to keep activating this as an artwork through events, through little things like this each year, little conversations when it's pruned with different people from around campus who perhaps deal with some of these issues or are part of the gardens team and have to make these decisions all the time. But we're also looking to programme some events as well. So keep your eye on the website, and you'll find details of them. If you want to see the rose, then check out the LU Arts website and look at the sculpture map because it's marked on there. Until next year,
ta-da!
Keep growing well.
Please be here next year.